backlash with anything. And, it's, to me, I'm telling my experience of the situation, and I'm coming at it from a real life perspective. I'm not sitting on the outside just, guessing. Like, this is my experience with this fight, or this experience with the UFC. And no, man, it's been clear. Nobody's kind of hated on me from the UFC that I know of. Like, I'm sure there's people, always haters behind the scenes, but no, it's cool. And I feel like anything that I say on a video, I would say to Dana's face as well. So to me, that is respectful to me. So if I have anything, like, I would never say anything on a video that I wouldn't say to the UFC, or I wouldn't say to Bellator or whatever, because my experience is what it is, and whether people like it or not, I mean, that's on them.
Right. Now, you seem to have a great relationship with Scott Coker. What is your relationship with Dana White? Do you guys have a relationship? I mean, is it kind of like, a handshake deal, cool, good luck to you, and now you're off to Bellator?
So I don't have a relationship with Scott Coker. I've never talked to him. He's never texted me.
Wait, you've never You've never talked to Scott?
No, just my management talks with Bellator. I've talked to Mike Hogan, who's basically kind of one of the main guys with Bellator, does a lot of the matchmaking. I have a more of a relationship with him, but I've never talked to Scott personally, never met him, never talked to him on the phone, nothing. So my relationship is better with Dana, and that's just because maybe I've had more experience with Dana. I've texted him, he's texted me. I've talked to him in person, met him a bunch more. But yeah, man. And I feel like Dana is always been on that aspect of, whenever I've reached out to him, he's always gotten back to me. And whenever I see him, it's just more or less respect. I get that he's in a business situation. I'm in a business situation. And sometimes we cross paths, and it is what it is, man.
Yeah. And now, of course, you are with Bellator. You signed a 4-fight deal. You're 2-1 with them so far. That win over Georgie was amazing. What are your future plans with the organization? I mean, obviously, COVID has kind of put a wrench in everything. It seems like Bellator has taken the more cautious approach when it comes to having fights in this pandemic era. Talk about how your training has changed during COVID, and also how your experience in the fight game has changed, because you still have obviously one fight left on the contract. Talk about that a little bit, and your thoughts on this COVID, pandemic world that we're going through.
Yeah, I feel like COVID is, it's every day is a new day, man. I'm sure a bunch of other people are kind of experiencing the same thing. Is nothing is the same. I think the biggest thing in this whole situation with the pandemic is nobody knows what's going to happen tomorrow. Nobody knows. We don't know if it's going to get even worse, if how the economy is, if it's going to go up, if we're still going to be going down for more months. So we just don't know. And, my goals remain the same. I want to just keep training, keep getting better, and competing against the best in the world. I love that thrill, that experience of going out there and getting in that cage. And whether, I have one fight left with Bellator, I don't know what they want to do. I know what I'm worth, and I don't know if we can figure something out. We haven't even, as far as I know, talked about it. So I'm doing what's best for myself, my family, the competition. I'm down to go wherever. I'm down to stay with Bellator. And who knows? I have this one fight, so UFC is always an option out there as well.
Yeah, and I wanted to ask you, because you mentioned the management, how your management talks to Scott, and you guys kind of broker a deal from there. Do you like that better? Do you like giving it to somebody else to handle, or do you wish that you kind of had a little bit of ear, like to know what's going on? I mean, that to me, like, it's interesting. It's like having a management or an agency that works for you. It's got benefits to it, but like, I'm so nosy that I would want to be like, oh, what did they say? What did they say? Does it ever bother you, or is it kind of like, hey, that's their problem to deal with, and I'll just keep training?
Yeah, for me, I'm a professional, and I believe in having a manager. They're the bad guys, man. They're the guys that have to go out there and do what's best for me. If you think, I'm bad, you should see some of these managers, what they want, what they're demanding. And I like it like that, because look, again, I feel like whether it's, Coker, whether it's Dana, from a personal standpoint, I'll always say what's up to him. There's never any personal vendetta against him, or I don't think against me. So it's just business, man. And sometimes, business, you put emotions to the side and you need to do what's best for your business.
Yeah. A couple hot takes here from you, and I'm sure you're going to be doing YouTube videos on them, and you have already, but I wanted to get your thoughts on the Paul brothers and boxing. Obviously, the whole world went crazy with the whole Nate Robinson thing.
I love it, man.
Yeah. Is it something, I've talked to fighters that absolutely hate it, and they're like, it puts like a stain on the sport, and then I've talked to other fighters that love it because it just brings more attention to the fight game. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I mean, I love it, but again, I'm a little biased, right? I'm a YouTuber, but I believe, man, it's entertaining, whether it's Logan, whether it's Jake, whether it's Mike Tyson, it's more entertainment. It's like a breath of fresh air. And you have these guys that are out there promoting themselves, that have built their own brand, that don't need to rely on Bellator, don't need to rely on UFC. And to me, if you're a fighter, if you're an entertainer, you should respect that, because that is somebody who's building it from the ground up and doesn't need help from many other people or businesses. So I respect it. And just from a fan's perspective, it's different. You know what I mean? It's different. With the Mike Tyson event, with the walkouts, the way the ring looked, the different characters, it's a little bit of a different way of doing it. I don't think they're the best fighters in the world. I don't think, as far as the caliber, pound for pound, from being a fighter, whoever's going to be the best, if that's what the fans want to watch, UFC, Bellator, those, maybe tune into those more. But from a pure just fight perspective and entertainment, I love it, man. I'm excited to see what's next.
Is there anyone out there, either an athlete or an artist, that you could see yourself getting in the ring with? I mean, if you had your choice, if someone was to come to you with, big money, Tyson comes to you and says, hey, listen, your Bellator contract, it's up. Pick whoever you want. Who would you pick?
Dude, of course, the Paul brothers,
Yeah.
I would pick whatever's the biggest name. Obviously myself, I'm on a different caliber than all these other YouTubers. So to line them up is the way I feel. Whatever's the biggest name, is what I would jump on.
Do you think, because Jake's a little, I think he's in the 170, 180 range. I mean, would you bulk up, or would you ask him to come down a little bit?
I'd bulk up. I mean, at this point, if it'd be entertaining from a boxing standpoint. Remember, we're talking one rule set. This isn't even a real fight.
Right.
It's not. If me and this guy were to go on the street, that's the way I see it. Hey man, there's no rules. It ain't like we can just throw hands or kicks. No, grappling, all that. But in one rule set, I think it makes it interesting, because it kind of, from a fight perspective, if you look at somebody like the Paul brothers, if they were to get thrown in there against in an MMA fight, they wouldn't last a second. Same thing with Floyd, because the grappling and there's so much you need to learn, and there's so many ways to win and lose, that it's a lot easier for them to enter the boxing realm, because it's less they have to learn, and they can jump right in and kind of get going a lot better. So I mean, from a boxing standpoint, especially if we're talking 2-minute rounds, 5 rounds, I think it's exciting either way, myself against any of those guys, because I think it's more competitive on their standpoint. You know what I mean? Because if they were to step into my real world, which is a fight, I'm not I'm not biased. I'm not going to say, oh, we can only box or anything. I want to see, if me and you were to find each other on the street and we were to fight, who's going to win. That, to me, I always look at what's the realest. But for them, they're playing it smart, man. They're staying in the boxing realm, keep the round shorter, less rounds, just because there's certain things that obviously, if you're going to do a 10, 12 round fight, you need experience for that. You need, the conditioning and everything. But when you get these short rounds, they're 2 minutes instead of 3, and then there's only 5 rounds, you can kind of play that part a lot better.
Yeah. Now, obviously, in a perfect world, you want to fight as soon as possible. If I had to guess, by, I would say early 2021. But what are your plans? I mean, obviously, with waiting for, Bellator to kind of get another card together, and they have had cards, during this pandemic. It's been a little bit more spread out than the UFC. When would you like to get back into the cage and fight?
March, probably end of March at the earliest. I have some family stuff I'm taking care of right now, but yeah, I mean, early 2021 is what it's looking like.
Awesome. Well, Myles Fury Jury, I appreciate you taking the time out of your day. You've got the real estate stuff, you've got the YouTube stuff, you're training, you're a busy man. You are the definition of a fighter that uses more than just these to get by. I mean, you've got, a little bit of everything going on. If fans are watching this right now and they want to find you on YouTube, what is that link? What is your channel link?
Yeah, it's just my name. I mean, you can just search, Myles Jury, YouTube, and yeah, check out the channel. Drop a comment, say what's up, man.
Awesome. I appreciate you so much. I appreciate you getting through all these technical difficulties and still giving me the time of day, man. Peace and love to you, and we hope to see you in the first quarter 2021 back in the cage.
Awesome. Thanks, brother, man. Great times. Talk to you soon.
All right, we'll see you.